is more of a career guidance session. I'm not really sure, really. I am the right person to give guidance, but yes, I do have experience of 25 years in the industry. I have written books, I have done videos, I have done assignments, I have changed jobs, I have opened my own company. So I do have some kind of an authority, but at the same time, I am a struggler developer like you. Every day I struggle to make my livings as well. So I will try my best, whatever I can answer out here. So if you have any questions, what you can do is, I'm not sure, we can go ahead and we can speak on the mic as well. Or if you want, you can go ahead and put your questions on the chat and I can answer them. But very quickly, how should we do it, admin? Should we let people to speak on the mic, or should we want like, should we, okay, let me plug in this, yeah. Yes, I think it is recorded. Yes, it's recorded. Right, so if anybody wants to unmute, you can unmute here and you can speak. Very quickly, guys, I have got 2 questions already in my private chat, and I will talk about those questions first, and then I can come back to everyone. So the first question, okay, where is the first question? Okay, I think I closed my notepad. So guys, the first question which came to me was, because a lot of people will have that question out here. So I'll just put here the question 1. Actually, I had a notepad. So two, 3 of our friends had sent a question out there in the notepad, and I restarted my computer, so I don't have the question. But the first question which came to me was that, should I shift from .NET? Because so many things are coming up new out here. So one of our friends has like 10 years experience. I think it was Sumit or someone who had pinged me. So, so if you have 10 years experience in .NET framework, I suppose, ASP.NET, web forms, the old SQL Server. So if you are those 2000, 2001 developers who have come in, gained experience, did web form projects, then did MVC 3, 4, 5, I would suggest that if you are shifting from .NET to Python or something, it would be completely a rebooting for you. Because the ecosystem of .NET still remains the same. The SQL Server still remains the same. So a lot of things are still same. So if you say that you want to go and change your career and you want to start with Python because somebody told you that machine learning is good, right? It is good to go and experiment, but I would suggest that you should use your current knowledge and grow on the top of it. So we have .NET Core, which is already out there. Microsoft has given full focus on it. If you see the last 4 years of the track, what Microsoft is doing, they're completely on .NET Core. VS Code is now there as a well-known editor, again from Microsoft. TypeScript is already out there, which is again from Microsoft. SQL Server is now cross-platform. So I feel that this is the best time to be in .NET. If somebody says, was 2000 the right time to be in .NET, must be, I think Java is popular as well and will be popular, but Java was more popular than .NET. But today I feel the way Microsoft is heading, Azure and all the things, right, I feel that this is the right time to be in Microsoft technologies. So just I'm answering that question because that came up on the chat. So let us quickly go now to other questions. So any questions out here? So that's a good question. I'll take it up. And so this is question from Nisha ma'am, and I will take this up. And this question comes to everyone, including me. Even at this age, sometimes I ask myself questions that how can I upgrade myself, right? So I've been a person who started his career in COBOL and then went into VC++, Basica, DBase 3+, those old things, and then I migrated to VC++ and VB6, and then to ASP.NET, did some of Java in between, and then .NET Core. Things are going on. So how do we keep ourselves updated? Well, I will say that every 2 days or 3 days, just learn 30 minutes. So take up a topic. Don't stray too much. Don't like they say that I will do Python, I will do this, I will do this, I will. No, not needed, right? You should be focused on, like, for example, you will say that, okay, I'm not good in Azure at this moment. So I know SQL Server, I know Entity Framework, MVC Core, but Azure is not good. So what you can do is, day 1, go ahead and get registered on the Azure portal. Don't go about that, right? And plan well. Don't try to, if somebody says you that you have to do Amazon, it's good. Amazon is a different thing altogether, which is mostly for non-Microsoft platforms. You can host Microsoft products on Amazon, but the point is that when you look at the job market, it will be like .NET Core, MVC, Angular, SQL Server, Azure. So this is like a natural requirement which will come from the market, right? So I would suggest that 30 minutes. First day I will register on Azure portal. Done. Second day, or don't do anything on second day. Enjoy with your family, right? Third day, I will go and create the first virtual machine. You get stuck. If you're getting stuck, stop for that day. So I think if you go like this for 30 minutes, you will find that after like 4 months, you are into it. So what I feel is that if you create a proper plan, and like for example, I'm very fat at this moment. If I start every day 30 minutes of yoga and jogging, I'm dead sure that I can bring down my weight. So I think the most important thing is that how do I keep myself updated with the industry? 30 minutes in 2 days or 3 days, keep doing it. I think that should help out. And that's what I do. I record videos, so my job is to learn only, that's there. But previously also when I was working with Capgemini and Accenture, what I used to do is I used to take out a printout, I used to stand on the bus, keep reading it, Com Plus and all those things. And eventually when I reach at my home, my travel time I was utilizing for reading. When I go to my house, I can enjoy with my family. And if I need again 15 minutes, I will learn something from online. So that's how you can upgrade yourself. And one more important thing, just adding here, if you get offline training, I know that nowadays, now like, with this COVID, etc., everybody's coming online, which is great actually. Questpond, like my company, has already been online. But let me tell you that nothing like offline. At this moment, when everybody is doing online, I would like to say nothing like offline. So if you say no, like I don't have those stamina of doing like 30 minutes, fine. Go to LinkedIn. You will find someone who is good in Azure, I'm sure. And try to find a senior person and tell him that, yes, I will pay you 5,000-10,000 rupees, 15,000, whatever is the amount, right? Can you just give me a quick start? Can you just help me to let's connect offline, and can you just help me to learn this thing? So offline training, if you get an offline training of 2 days or 3 days, and if the trainer is good, you should do it. Offline training, talking with your guru, talking with your teacher, that training model will never go off, how much ever these online trainings are happening today. I myself do YouTube, but when I do offline training in SBSS, it is different. So I think 2 mantras which are important, definitely 30 minutes, if possible. If this you can do it, subscribe to Udemy, subscribe to Pluralsight, subscribe to my site, why not, Questpond, right? But wherever you subscribe, right, at the end of the day, you have to start seeing those videos every day. If you can't do that, offline trainings, or I'll say one-to-one training, not one-to-one, but at least where you can get connected with the trainer and talk. So that's something how I upgrade myself. I do cross training with my trainers. The trainers train me in Amazon or Azure, and it helps me out. So, okay. As the technology, okay, I'll just start from the top, guys. So many questions out there. As technology is evolving, how long C# would be to compete with others? So this is a good question. I'll take up this question. So how long C# would be able to compete with others? Like, is it good time to invest, dig deeper into this? I think I already answered this. C# is there to stay for sure. You should look at the roadmap of Microsoft. For example, if you see currently .NET 5.0, I don't know how many of you guys have heard it. So how do I see that the technology will last? How do I know that this technology will last? I have no connections with Microsoft. I'm not such a big person. But definitely, when they do an announcement out there, they tell their plans of 3 years and 4 years. And Microsoft's flagship language is C#. So if they lose C#, they have nothing else in their hands. So there is no other programming language on which they have invested. So if you look at right from 2000, when .NET started, 2002-3, right? They said that .NET, C#, .NET is the framework, C# is our language. They started minimizing their investment on VC++ .NET and VF.NET. If you see now, it is C# and C#, right? So it's all. If you look at the roadmap out here, and especially for .NET 5.0 and C#, the roadmap is very, very clear that they are going to do .NET Core. They are investing on VS Code. They are coming with this .NET 5.0 roadmap, right? So this is the .NET 5.0 roadmap. Where is, there was one, yeah, the preview 3, right? So they had made an announcement, and it was made by Richard Lander itself. where they had a roadmap of 2000 and till the 2022 or 23 they had a roadmap, right? So I'll just go to their website. I'm sorry for googling all this. So that's what they're looking .NET forward for, a one .NET. If you see at this moment we have this .NET, the Windows .NET, the old one, .NET 1.x, 2.0, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5, 4.x, 4.6, 7, 8, all Windows platform. That's all there. Second, we have Mono, which was running somewhere here and there. We had Xamarin, one more .NET framework from there. Windows CE, the new kit, .NET Core. So they said that so many things out there, and they're unifying this into one platform out here. And if you see the notes as well, the .NET 5.0 notes. So okay, that's their plan. 2023 is clearly out there. So I see when a company, a billion-dollar company, has planned already for 3-4 years. So at least for 5 years, I don't see C# going anyway, right? It's all out there, and definitely C# is not going to go anywhere. Neither C++, neither Java, or any other technology out there or programming language will not go anywhere. They will have their own market. They will probably seize down. But at least for C#, I can say that the roadmap is very clear. The investments are very clear. It is C#, it is .NET Core, SQL Server cross-platform, VS Code, integration with frameworks like Angular, Azure. Definitely Azure is going to shine out here. All those Azure queues, Azure blobs, microservices. So all that's what's going to prevail for the coming 2-3 years. So just quickly answering that question, I'll go back again to the next question. Nowadays, industry demands a full stack developer. So how can I be a C# full stack developer? You already are a full stack developer. So here's a question out here. Full stack developer, this is a terminology. For example, if I say someone, are you a 3-layer developer? Yes, you are. Like either you do Java or either you do C#. You always have a UI layer, you have a business layer, right? So this terminology full stack is coming from the JavaScript community, which is very synonymical. When I say that a .NET person has to be end-to-end. So in the C# and .NET, at least in India, this terminology was very common, that end-to-end development, right? So yes, a C# person, he will use Angular as a front end, right? So if you look at the mean stack, so we have this MongoDB, we have Express.js, we have Angular, we have Node, right? Fine. So this Mongo is their database, Express is their web server, Angular is their front end, what they have decided. Well, this is just what do you call, it is only from the indication point of view. You can have Angular with React as well. So that's why a lot of people also say MERN, with React as well. So Node, right? Then fine. So we are like SQL Server S, and we do IIS. Yes, we can do Angular as well. And our framework for compiling is .NET, right? D. So we are also a full stack guy. So, and even the Java persons are full stack. So full stack means end-to-end development. And I feel that with .NET, you can stick to .NET Core, MVC Core. Front end, you can choose your own front end, Angular, etc. Whatever you want, React. Backend can be SQL Server. Well, can be, should be SQL Server, because that's a right way of looking at it. Very quickly, guys, it's very much possible that when you hear my session, I would like to make a special comment on that. I'm so sorry for it. You will always find that I am I'm too much hypnotized with Microsoft technologies. And that's probably because, from the way I have started my career, etc. It's not that I don't like Java. It's not that I don't like other technology. And what I'm saying is, I want to be proficient as a developer. I want to be known with a certain technology. So if I go with my CV out there, I shouldn't be knowing like C, C++, .NET, Java. I don't want to confuse anyone. So I want to just tell them, I'm a .NET guy with MVC Core, with Angular, with SQL Server. You tell me right away, I will code for you. But if you tell me, can I do Node? I can do Node. So the point here is that I think everyone now, should try to see that your CV should not be diluted. Don't confuse the interviewer. Don't put everything out there. So you get a call from Python. So when a Python person calls you, he's confused why you have done .NET. And then you get a call from an MVC Core person. He's confused why you have done Python. So if you are going to have a diluted resume, it's a problem, right? So just I want to make that point here, because as I go ahead with my with my session out here, a lot of people will feel that this guy is just Microsoft, but that's how I look at. So a Java person should project himself as Java. For example, I'm a trainer. I want to be known that I'm very good in Angular. I'm very good in this. But if somebody says, can you take React? I can, right? So that point is very, very important. So guys, let me see where I was. Okay, this is, okay. Can we discuss the full stack technology? If we talk about Microsoft, so Gaurav, I have already discussed the full stack technology. If you talk about Microsoft, it is very clear. I can see one question out here. Why can't I select SQL Server with Oracle? You can. I never said you can't. You can. You can select MySQL. What I'm saying is that in the market, the natural marriage between .NET and the database would be SQL Server. So if you say .NET, by default SQL Server will be the choice. If you say Java, Oracle will be the choice. So I'm talking about this natural bonding which has happened, which we need to respect. So from the market point of view, I'm saying it will be SQL Server 80%. Then some people, they don't want to pay for license, they will use MySQL, and then some people will take something else, right? Some people will also say that what the client wants, that is fine. I'm talking about the 80% market. So can we discuss the full stack technology? The one which I've discussed out here, SQL Server, the same old IIS and Angular and other things, right? So that will prevail for a long time. Azure DevOps is mandatory. Very good question out here. Is Azure DevOps is mandatory? No, I don't feel so. DevOps, you should understand the concept of DevOps. You should do a small demo also, push up application and see that it goes live automatically. Those you can see. So learn about DevOps, take Azure DevOps as learning point, look at other tools around, but don't spend too much time on this, because you can put in your CV DevOps and you can say that, see, look, I have done Azure DevOps, but at the same time, if you look at the environment of Java, it is very different. If you say you are doing .NET with Angular, then the compilers change. You have to do ng build for Angular, and then you have to do .NET build for .NET. So the compilers change. So I would suggest that when you say actually you want to implement DevOps, no tutorial can teach you. So I would say that do smartly, put that keyword Azure DevOps, see some demo videos out there, do some small practicals on it, and you will get a call for DevOps. But at the same time, tell him that every system out there, every project out there is so different that at the end of the day, you have to start writing MS build code, you have to start writing a lot of those YAML code, which is very different, right? So yes, I feel so that Azure DevOps should be there in your resume. Azure should be there definitely, and DevOps, at least the basic understanding should be there. Right, so let's see. I want to be a trainer. Okay, that's a very good question. I like people who want to be trainers. There is a lot of online training, and they claim a good, okay, let me, there's a lot of training companies, they claim a good training, but many of them actually not, but I can find a good resource for learning new technologies. If you're a subscriber for QuestBond, I will not boast about it. If you take one video at a time, you should be able to do it. And what I feel is that all video, anything out there, as I've said, anything out there, for example, you have, let's say you take Udemy. It is humanly impossible to go and watch so many videos. If you say even QuestBond, 3,000 videos, you won't watch it, right? So it is not about that how much videos you have subscribed or where you have subscribed. It is about that, are you doing that 30 minutes every day? So as I've said that, one is that you should try to do some kind of take the training one-to-one in case, see, there are some self-learners. Let me be very clear about it. There are people who are self-learners. They don't need anything. They will Google, they will take the first page, they will hack it, they will learn it. So those are like those 10% people, right? And they spend a lot of time doing that, right? The second kind of persons are, they can do it, right? But they don't have time for it. So what they do, they go to some video site out there, they go and try to get connected with some trainer and try to take the trainings, right? That's a smart way of doing it actually. Because then you won't be spending time, where is Node, where is SQL Server, will this work or not, and so on, right? So that's a smart way of learning it. So videos are more proactive, trainings are more, where you can get help from someone. And I again repeat that all of this, this online training, whatever is happening nowadays, every day new webinar, with all respect, offline trainings, whenever this thing finishes out this, right, this whole thing will settle off. Hunt an offline training institute wherever you stay. I'm sure that there are many good trainers who take offline. For example, in Mumbai, we take offline, right? Small batch. Ensure that those trainings are two days of trainings, three days of trainings, so that your Saturday, Sunday can be utilized. There is no replacement for offline training. So take offline and then combination of online, because offline trainings can take you to a certain extent, but then at the end of the day, you want to rewatch the videos and so on, then have a combination of it. So if you're a subscriber of Questpoint, I think you should be able to manage it. So let's, okay, I need to have, do I need to really care about machine learning and data science and so on? Very good question. Everybody wants to fly on the air. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science. Can I survive with that? Absolutely, you can survive without it. Okay, first thing. But what I would suggest is that machine learning eventually will become a part of your application. It will soon start. Machine learning cannot be a standalone thing. For example, how we have DBA. Nowadays, people don't say that they don't want anybody who is just a DBA, who will create a backup and then do some performance. They don't want that. They will say, okay, developers, you are there. You know how to take a backup. You also do the role of a DBA. The same will happen with machine learning. Old projects out there which have accumulated huge data out there, they will need machine learning. So for machine learning, again, the same things. There are hardly 4 or 5 important algorithm categories out there, right? Go ahead. You can watch any of the videos out there and say that, okay, so what is this? This is like linear regression. It helps me to predict if I have today the stock value is 70 and then 80, what will happen then in 2022? Linear regression, good. I want to go and find out different clusters. Fine. So what is the algorithm for it? So the way of doing machine learning is that at least the basic part you can put into your head, right? So whenever you have a project and somebody says your reports are out there, so in your project itself you can say that, okay, sir, these are all reports which are proactive. The user has to select, but there are no reports which are for forecasting purpose. There are no reports which show trend analysis. So I think machine learning will eventually become diluted and a part of the whole ecosystem. I feel so that reporting part, which was the first, we had reporting, which have nowadays become visualization by Power BI and Tableau, right? Over this, the machine learning will become eventually a part of it. So I would suggest don't do machine learning really aggressively. Focus on your, if you have done .NET, if you have a project, it's a different thing. If you have done .NET, do design patterns more. Do UML more. Do Azure cloud. That's going to be a heavy requirement, right? But if you have a project on machine learning, go ahead and do it. And then definitely focus on around it. What you can do is you can classify your learning into 2 parts. One is what is there in the market for my technology stack. For example, at this moment for .NET, I see this .NET Core, MVC Core, SQL Server. If you're a senior, yes, all those design patterns, UML, Agile, all that, Azure, right? Now, if you do machine learning, I don't know how much is needed with .NET as such, how much those jobs are there, right? So what you can do is that essentials, you should really focus first, and then you should take up this machine learning and other things until there is no need and urgency for it. I will say don't care about it, that it's okay. Don't look at others' data. You would be very depressed by seeing it. For example, I have some of my Java trainers, they call me and say, Shiv, like you are doing so good in .NET. Should I do .NET? I say, don't do it. Because Java is much bigger than .NET, right? So I would say become more specialized in what you do. Nowadays, the demand is, okay, that's a very good question I have. Okay, okay, that's a sad part. I'll take that question later on. Nowadays, the demand is with experience of more than 10 years. The ask in the industry is one should be able to manage team. How should one deviate from the technical background into management? Is there any scope for techno management, right? So very good question here. After 10 years, after 15 years, 20 years, your job, your salary becomes very high. So you can't just do the CRUD applications. You can't just say, I know Angular, I know Engine, so you need to really be a leader, and that's something that's as age crosses like 40, 45, whatever, right? Our salaries become like 2 lakh and 3 lakh packages, and we come into the eyes of the company saying that, oh, dekho, his salary is this much and the team lead is this much, the junior is this much, right? So over there, I will suggest that first thing, you have to be technically abreast. It will become more difficult as you go to 40 and 45 years to stand in the crowd, between the young crowd, and say that I am still there in the industry. So I would say again, 30 minutes every 2 days, senior people have to do, and I'm sure they can do it because they do yoga after 40, 45. Everybody does yoga every 15 minutes every day, right? So they can do this learning as well. So do 30 minutes every day. That's one. Second, don't do too much coding, etc. That's in the company, at least. In the company, don't try to go inside a project, too much, saying that I will take care of firefighting. Try to become a layer who can talk with the management, who can also guide technically. It's going to be very stressful, I'll tell you. So that techno management is there, definitely it is there, but I will say that management should be 20%. Eventually what happens is, a lot of seniors, they just do management. So either say kaam aaya, usko forward kiya. If you start becoming that kind of person, it is going to be bad. For example, if somebody says, sir, I have 4 grids before me, I have an AG grid and I have this grid, what do you think, what should I do? Then you should have that ability to sit for those 2-3 hours, look at all the 4-5 grids and take a decision that this is the best way of doing it. You should know your project architecture, at least what the developer is coding, at least from the top level, saying that this is one class, this is the service layer. That, I will not say micromanagement, macro management of technology you need to do. At the same time, you have to communicate to your management saying that I am the technical guy more and not just a management who will just keep reporting to you, right? It's going to be a very tough task. I can understand the situation of seniors out there. It's tough, but this is how I think at least I will manage out there. 20% management and 80% technical. Okay, lot of questions, guys, lot of questions. I think I am getting, okay, where am I? What is your advice to entrepreneurs who want to upgrade their skills? Entrepreneurs, so that's a question here for entrepreneurs. I'll take the entrepreneurs and trainers. Please, you can send a private mail to Gaurav, because I think this is more of people who are on the job. So people who want to start their own company or entrepreneurs, must be we can talk separately. Gaurav sir, I'll take those questions later on. I want to upgrade from Webform to MVC and Azure. How can I get solid hands-on in coding step by step? So I think go ahead, hunt for a lot of tutorials out there. I think this is very serious. This is very simple. So many YouTube channels out there. One I can suggest to you, Kud Venkat, which is awesome. When it comes to MVC, my own channel, I won't deny that those are one of those best videos. Pluralsight is offering free videos out there. Go ahead for Pluralsight, and so many out there, right? So see, the videos are there, material is out there. Tutorials point, when you start searching, you will find so many good sites out there. .NET Funda and C# Corner, the list keeps adding. What I would suggest is that you should look at step-by-step kind of material. That's the first thing. And second thing is that you should give 30 minutes every 2 days and try to do it practically. And second thing is, my question to you is, why you are upgrading so late? MVC, if you look at MVC 2 came like 12 years back, 13 years back, MVC core has come in, and you are upgrading today. This is wrong. Webform was there when MVC 2 came in. I know that there were a lot of bugs. MVC 3 came in, no problem. From MVC 4, market started looking at MVC. Till then, why you have to wait and watch? And today, the new wave has come, MVC core. MVC 3 core is already out, and MVC 5 people are talking about, and you are still not migrated. So first question to you is that the videos are out all there, but why so late? Remember, guys, don't go into any comfort zone, anywhere. You are working in any organization, don't go into a comfort zone. So if you are working with web forms, ensure that you have a knowledge of MVC 5 and MVC core, right? And I would really suggest that after every 5 years, change companies, try new things in life. So for example, if you're working in a company for 5 years, you know everyone, you have become comfortable, right? So finding a comfort zone is saying that like you don't want to struggle anymore, right? So I would suggest that that comfort zone, you should come out. Until you have a personal problem, I can see that. Okay, let me take up the other question. Sir, I want to be a trainer in C#. So Srinivas, please, for the trainer thing, I would like to, we'd like to do mentoring one-to-one, because it's so different, right? To start your own company, start training, etc. Hi, sir, I am a 10 years experience. I started my own company. I failed. Okay, that's a very good question. I think this happens with everyone. I would like to take this. There's a question here. So I'm a manager from a company. I started my own. I would like to take this question, especially for seniors out there. I was working as a delivery manager. See, guys, so question here is, I don't know why you sent a private message. It's in red. You are now, what happens is you are working as a delivery manager in a company. You are a boss of a company. You are drawing a handsome salary. You are in a comfort zone. You suddenly one day decide that you want to start your own company. Life is not so easy. Your badge goes off, your JP Morgan badge is off, your Accenture badge is off, you're on the streets, right? So first thing is you have to convince yourself that all these cars and everything will go off, all this people saying you, yes sir, will go off. So you need to start from scratch. So what happens is, mostly people who retire from IT companies, from CEO positions and CTO positions, they feel that I can just go out there and do mentoring. I can go out there and just start some course out there and people will come to hear me. People will hear you when you are inside their organization, because you dictate their promotions, right? So they have to come. But people will not come when you are there out there and say, hey, like I am a CTO of the X company. Nobody cares about it. So I think for that you have to build a brand value. It will take a lot of time. So this startup what you started, I don't know what it is. We can discuss that part. But I would say that don't, if you're going towards entrepreneurship, go gradually. Start part-time. Start at the night time, saying that does this prototype work? And then slowly go into that. Don't try to risk your job, something which is comfortable out there. If you shake it, you will go into a different zone altogether, right? Hi, sir, we will upgrade to .NET Core, but it is not getting used in my project. Very good question this is. I think I'll take up this question. So I want to upgrade to .NET Core, but it is not getting used in my project. Shall I wait for the right for getting work? Okay, so working for salary and upgrading yourself is two different things. You should really be very distinct on this part. If you're working in a company, you can be told to code in HTML. So you are working for a salary. But after 7 p.m. what you do is what decides, what is your future ahead. So for upgrading, for learning, for doing a small project yourself, nobody is stopping you. Do not try to find your love into your work. You won't find it. It is difficult, right? So don't wait for your project to become .NET Core. It will never become. Because think about it, or it will take some time to become, right? It means that the clients don't change their framework in a day and day, right? So I would suggest do the project. At the same time, inside your company itself, say that, hey, I have started a self-learning. I will teach today .NET Core on Friday evening. So some people in your company can come and join you. You teach them .NET Core, right? So must be you can create an environment of learning. So learning and working are two different things, period, right? A lot of people try to find learning in their working and it does not work. So yes, you should not wait. You should upgrade. You should, and remember, you already know .NET. You know already system.generics.collection or collection.generics. You already know entity framework. You already know SQL Server. Almost everything is same 70%. Only the way the compiler has changed, the namespaces have changed. So the upgrading won't be too much difficult, right? It's going to be a very, very natural uplift. So I would say that learning and working is two different things. Okay, let me take up the next question. Any guru mantra to prepare for technical interviews for 15 years? So, so for 15 years, there is no guru mantra, frankly. So one is that you can, remember, technical stack, you can prepare. Means in an interview, you can prepare the what part of it. So what is IEnumerable and what is Azure Service Bus, you can prepare. But if you say that, okay, here's the situation, right? How? That's something, is only experience. So what I would suggest is, that's something, it's very difficult for a 15 years person because they will ask you estimation, they will ask you project management, and they will ask you those simple .NET garbage collector questions also. That's how the Indian market is. Indian market, if you see, the senior has to get cleared right from the senior software engineer to team lead to everything, and then finally there are 7 interviews, and then the CEO of the company says, do you know management as well, right? It's a very difficult task, I can understand. So I would suggest prepare the technical stack, what part of it. The interview, the how part of it is something, your sixth sense, your experience, and etc. So that's something very difficult to prepare academically. Okay. So let me take this. I am working with MVC and I want to do Angular or React in my skills. Which one is, which one I will suggest? Remember, guys, in this career mentoring, I will not give you duplicate answers. I will not give you answers which will take both the sides. I don't believe in that. You know, there should be only one answer for something, even if it is contextual, right? So until there is a need, I will say contextual. Or so here it is. If you look at the job market, Angular with MVC core is definitely higher than React with MVC core. I'm not against React. Please note, I'm talking about the general market. For example, if you go and Google on Naukri.com, I can just quickly show you so that you can have an understanding of it. So if you go and say Naukri, and this is what I would suggest. I'm a professional. Okay. Oh, all this they ask? No. Naukri.com. Search. And this is what I do. When I create my courses, when I decide a technology stack, I look at what is there in the market. Because if I create something, you know, which is there as per the market standard, what happens is that, for example, I have my project I have done in .NET Core and Angular. It is very easy for me to find developers. It is very easy to find. If I go and take up a stack which is like Node.js with SQL Server with React, it will become very difficult to find a. So here it is. Let me try this. Angular with MVC. ASP.NET. Yep. So 9,300 jobs. That's what it is. And React. I don't know how this works. Huh? React with. I don't know how the search works. React with ASP.NET. So, oh, that's also 9,300. Okay, that's really good to see. Okay, so I can see that the job market is all the same. But when I look around, frankly, it must be that I'm in that thing. Must be this search. I need to really go and search properly. React. Let me see these jobs out here. I don't know. I have searched for React. If you see here, let me do that. React with ASP.NET. I don't know what this search are. It says ASP.NET Angular, and the React has shown me the search out there. For example, you can see here this is .NET with React and also with Angular. So I think this search has to be probed again. Looks like it is doing an OR condition, right? But I can tell you that React with other technologies are there, but Angular with MVC core is very much there. Why? I'll tell you why this natural bonding has happened. Because Angular has used TypeScript. Here's how this happened. Now has used TypeScript, and TypeScript is created by Microsoft, by Mr. Anders, who created C#. So what happened is the followers of Anders, definitely a person like me and many other people out there, they started liking TypeScript, and Angular used TypeScript. So it so happened that there was a natural tie-up which happened eventually, and you will see that in Visual Studio you will see a lot of support of TypeScript, a lot of support of Angular templates as compared to React. So I feel that there is a natural bonding which happened because of the main leaders out there. So Angular team, Nisco out there chose TypeScript. TypeScript is made by Anders. So followers of Anders said Angular is good. Angular said that they like Anders, and looks like TypeScript, VS Code. So because of that, this ecosystem is created. So I would say Angular with MVC with React, not with React, only with Angular with MVC. I'm just talking about also. I'm talking about that why Angular is popular with MVC is because of the top leaders. They have a collaboration. The technologies have a collaboration. And please note that there are regular meetings between the Angular team and the TypeScript team. So the Angular team, the Google team goes to Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office people come to Angular. Microsoft Office people look at Angular team as heroes. I've met Rob. I know that what's happening between them. Rob respects Anders. So there is so much respect out there that it is like when the leaders are saying we are together, people like me who's there in India, who's a very small person who is following them, they will say that we are with them, right? So there is I don't see that with the Facebook office, frankly. I've talked with the MVC team and I know that there are hardly any meetings between React and the ASP.NET Core team. Okay, so many questions, guys. I'll now start dropping some questions because we have, I have 11-year experience. What should I learn? I mean, like MSBI or Azure. So I would say that if you're 11 years of experience, I've already answered that question. Don't go for MSBI. MSBI is good for people who are in SQL Server. So I'll take up this question. I have already said, if you have done C#, MVC Core, you should do Azure. This should be the priority. MSBI is good for people who have done SQL Server, who have done DBA, and they want to go ahead and join the business intelligence era. And over there, MSBI, and not only MSBI, they have to do Power BI. They have to also do Tableau. They have to do a lot of other things. So the business intelligence is a different field altogether. If you have 11 years experience, one in programming, don't shift, right? Okay, let's. Okay, okay, right. So I have started the current .NET. From where can I start to become a full stack .NET developer? Right. So if you, from where to start creating a project. This is for people who are freshers. How do I go and learn any technology? First thing is definitely learn the basics. So I would suggest this is the learning path, .NET, and I will say now start with .NET Core, SQL Server, object-oriented programming concepts. It's a long path. One of the frameworks, either Angular, React. I will suggest React, Angular, and when you do SQL Server, all that query writing, indexes, basic concepts. You know, when you go before a senior, how much ever you are a fresher, you should know what is inner join, left join, right join, abstract classes. Some basic idea you should have. How to do a CRUD application, how to create a complete application, CRUD application, right? So I feel that as a fresher, if I find a fresher who can do all this, I would appoint him. Right? So that's for the roadmap. You know, if you want to learn. Okay. I'm a C++ developer. What's the prerequisite to learn Azure? So here is first thing. If you're a C++ developer, frankly, to learn Azure admin part, there is nothing. There is no prerequisite. You have to just swipe your swipe card. You put your credit card, go and create a virtual machine. You can go and use SQL Server, create tables, right? So you will know a lot of services in Azure, but at the end of the day, somebody says, now build something on the top of Azure. You don't know how to do it, right? So I would suggest that people who are going, so if you're going from the Azure admin perspective, I don't know if there is any Azure admin job. I am really not sure about the market of Azure admin. Like, must be there is, but the job market would be very less, right? Azure developer, C++ won't do too much. You should be doing C# and .NET. That people who are already having 10 years of experience, leverage Azure, leverage DevOps, UML, design patterns, right? Please leverage that and don't try to go into something new. So C++ is not a natural tie-up. Must be Amazon can be. You need to look into that, right? And coming, you know, just to create services, I don't know if people will give job. Like I can create virtual machines, 10 virtual machines in a day. Again, like let's say that if somebody says, okay, I have 10 virtual machines and I want to do networking in Azure, right? Then for networking, again, he has to have basics of networking. Subnet. What is subnet? What is VNet? What is this? So like he has to have an idea of the networking concept, or how will you build a network on Azure also. So I think the basic concept will remain. The cloud is just there, you know, to look at things. Okay. C#, you have to do C#. That's it. Okay, you are so hard on C#. Okay, I won't answer that question. Due to some restriction, we are forced to upgrade our skills beyond. I do not go beyond. What should I do in this situation? from your career perspective, does it make sense to do that upgrade or not? Or is it like you are feeling uncomfortable? If you're feeling uncomfortable, then believe me guys, you should give a notice to that company. You won't like my suggestion, and you should search for a job which is MVC core and C#, right? Because see, the point is that you will keep adjusting. For example, I'll tell you, I know one multinational company, wherein they do Python a lot. So the person joined there as a .NET developer, but they do Python. And what do they do in Python? Small things. They don't do really the whole Python. They actually go and run some scripts of Python. Now the question here is that you were a .NET guy for 5 years. You did so many big applications, but now you have got into something which is Python, and you are wasting your time for, I'll say, your skills are becoming dull for salary, must be, right? So I think MVC core and C# jobs are in abundance, and this also remains true for a Java person as well. For 11 years you have done Java, and you say you want to do .NET, I will say don't do it, because 11 years of your life you have spent doing it, right? Already we have done so many in the colleges. We have changed from electronics to electrical, from BCom to BA, and I don't know what people do. And then even after coming to job, we keep changing technologies. It will just dilute your. I can understand a mainframe person going to .NET or Java, because the mainframe technology is subsidizing, or it is subsidizing. Even mainframe has its own thing, but that is different thing. I can understand the job market has become very less. If there is the job market is becoming less, it is a different thing. But if there is abundant jobs, I think you should not force yourself. You can give a 3 months of notice, learn yourself, and then join bigger companies. Junior developers. What is your suggestion for junior developers in what kind of things to look out? Was lucky to start with my career. I want to continue expanding on the line, regardless of whether this is very good. Thank you very much to be focused. I like this question. You have to be focused, guys. That's it. It's not that I'm not a bhakt of .NET. I shouldn't use that word anywhere nowadays. But I'm not really like, .NET. But the point is that I have 15, 16 years on this. And a lot of people say that, it's like changing cars and so on. So for junior developers, I'll tell you, if you have just come out from the college, join a company where there is like good .NET seniors, where you will learn a lot of things. You will lead the project yourself, or you will be coding majority of it. Don't join big companies. I will write down this out here. If you want to, you can join big companies. I'm not saying it's bad or something. Must be in the later stages. But at the initial stage, I would suggest struggle in smaller companies. Struggle for getting salary. You should, I feel that a junior who is working on deadline projects, and tight deadlines, even like his salary depends on will he deliver or not. I think you should work in such kind of companies, and you should be a majority stakeholder in terms of coding in that project, right? And when you work in smaller companies, you not only see the project pressure, as well as not only you see a lot of mistakes out there, you also see management mistakes. For example, I joined a lot of startup companies at the start. I didn't get paid for six months. I'm talking now today from my home. My wife is standing right beside me. She knows that I didn't get paid for six months. But what I learned from that company is that I found that how the CEOs are making mistakes, why they are not able to pay the salary. So not only technical part, I was good at, but at the same time I was good at the management mistakes what they were doing. So start from smaller companies, and please find yourself a guru. A guru means a teacher. You can get a lot of people out there, technical teachers. I'm saying technical persons, like must be Scott Hanselman, Scott Guthrie, or must be anyone out there, your local person out there. Like if you're from Delhi, Dhananjay Kumar. If you're from Mumbai, Sanjay Sir. If you're from Pune, Vikram Pense. So many people out there, become friend with them. Right? You say you want to do .NET, just ensure that he knows you on Twitter, right? And it is very easy. I can understand Scott Hanselman will not know you. He's in US. But a lot of these guys are available in the local forums. You can just tell them, sir, Vikram sir, I've read your 4 blogs. Sanjay sir, I saw you doing, they like it, And then once you're there, their advices will really help you to grow. So 2 things: join small companies and try to follow some leader, technical leader out there who is in user groups, who is struggling out there, right? Join a user group and take some trainings. Saturday, Sundays, lot of local user groups out there. Go ahead and take some small sessions, right? You will also learn not only how to deliver, but also you will learn the technology also. How is the market for progressive web apps as a .NET developer? The market is good for progressive web apps, but there is no big market as saying that progressive web apps only. So it is good. PWA is there. It's bound to stay. But I think the requirement will be very small, offline or online. So yes, yes, AZ 2000. That's a good certification to do. Yes, yes, that's a good certification to do. I want write programs, learn any program, but how can I learn DevOps, Scrum by doing it? Okay, DevOps. And how can I learn DevOps and Scrum by doing it, exactly doing it. So must be you can send me a mail at Questpond or to India Mentors. I can point out to some resources which you can go through that if you want to learn something step by step. Should I go from Azure or AWS? .NET guys, I think I'm very clear, Tarun. I've already said I don't have duplicate answers for this. If you're .NET, you are Azure. If you're non-Microsoft, you are Amazon Web Services. Period. Is doing web designing and full stack together a good career path? Well, that's a very difficult question to answer. So web designing, see what I do, like when I'm coding something in .NET or Angular, I need to interact with web designers. So I need to see that the colors are right, but at the end of the day, I don't decide the colors. As a developer, I feel that most of the developers are very bad in designing. So don't step yourself in two stones. Don't dilute yourself. If you know how to fight with the sword, just fight with the sword. Keep fighting with the sword and you become excellent in that. Don't try to do this and that and this and that and then you end up with nothing, right? So if you're doing web designing also, that means you are also stepping into something else, right? Don't lose your stamina, just do development, or else just do web designing. That is also fine. For techno management, probably I'm not so good in advising for techno management. So I'm not sure about the certification, but must be India Mentor can organize one more session from management perspective. But for techno management, I don't feel there is any certification as such. Rather than saying techno management, please try to be a leader in your company. Once you become 15 years, 20 years of experience, it is not about that how you assign tasks. Do you do on WBS or do you use Excel? Do you do on a piece of notepad? It's all about that how you interact with developers, how you help them to come out from problems, how you stop them to not let them sit in unnecessary meetings. So I think, so there is no certification for such kind of thing. But I think from management perspective, we should have a different, a different mentoring program where you can have, okay. So probably I'm just a technical guy. I can just look at one lens. Should I upgrade from .NET 5 as I have in preview? No. So yes, so .NET 5.0, no, you should not upgrade your projects, but yes, you can start learning it. Okay. So let me start here. There are people on VB6. I love you VB6 guys out there. You remind me of the 1990 days when I was young. But guys, you have to come out of VB6. So again, I'm coming to the same part. Working and learning are different things. So you can work on VB6, and I envy that you're working on VB6. But at the same time, please upgrade yourself to .NET Core, MVC Core. Please see how the new kids are doing. Remember the new generation. They are coming up with new technologies like cloud. They are thinking way beyond us, right? So VB6 has its own days. FoxPro had its own days. Webform had its own days. Don't be too sticky saying that, okay, like I will do web forms. Remember in web forms we did ADO.NET. But today, Entity Framework is equivalently good. It is equivalently productive, right? So I would have come out from VB6. How should we move my career as an architect after 7 years of experience? Very good question. 7 years of experience. I think you should focus on design patterns. Not all of them, but some of the important ones. You should really know how to architect naturally. Like if some project comes to you, how do you create your services? How do you create your data access layers or repositories, right? So some of those patterns out there, class diagrams, documentation, use case diagrams, so UML, definitely a bit of UML. You should know process, period. So a bit of Scrum and Agile. I'm not saying over processing, but some management, that how does man-days gets calculated. So other than technical, first thing you have to be technically very strong. People first judge you on technical. 80% is technical. Management, the manager also knows that, because A person who interviews you at the last, right, is a manager. So he says, management mein kar lega, to technical kar. So I think the requirement of technical is huge in the market as compared to management. And I would suggest to focus on that more. So design patterns, architecting, UML, and also the process part, that what is agile, what is a product backlog, how do you do the things, how do you, what is the process of delivery, and so on. Okay, lots of questions out here, guys. I have now only 10 minutes, so I'm going to go and skip some questions. Sir, I'm going to face a campus now on your way. What kind of trainings I should do? And I'll take this question. Campus interviews. I would say don't join from campus. I'm sorry to say that. I graduated from VJTI. So I had this Wipro company where I joined in, and I left that company within 3 months, right? Once you join from campus, let's say you join bigger companies, with all respect to TCS, etc., they will put you wherever they want to put you. You can ask any senior out here, if there is any senior out there. I would again go back to the same thing. Join small companies, right? If you join from campus, you just join in a herd, and then when you join in a herd, it's a problem. I would suggest that people who are in the last year, at this moment, lockdown is going on, please upgrade into a stack. So like .NET Core and Angular, or let's say Java and React with Oracle, or Node with MySQL, or MongoDB with Express. So upgrade yourself into a stack. I think you should learn a stack, because industry needs a stack. Don't learn C, C++, HTML, Photoshop. I don't know what people put out there. It does not make sense. So learn a stack, stick to that stack, and put that resume on your stack, and start hunting for companies. I can tell you that if you are good, you will get a job, right? So, and if you are going to go and join, let's say if you have, okay, let me answer this also from a different. Let's say if you have a monetary problem, if you are from a, if your family is not doing good, you still want to join campus, join the campus. I'm okay with that. Join the campus, right? But then, as I've said, that please upgrade yourself. Please be prepared that you will be put in testing. You will be put into project which you don't like, right? Because then now you have chosen money more than your passion. So you need to sacrifice your passion, right? So that's the answer for it. Your answers are weird. Yes, it is weird. Absolutely. I agree to it. Don't send me private messages. I keep learning so much things, but I'm working on maintenance project. Again, the same thing, Priyanka Rao, I said, you're working in maintenance project, and I would suggest that, see, like a lot of people work in companies, because the company is near to their home, and it is absolutely good. Absolutely right, I'll say. For example, a person who is at the age of 42 is going through a lot of things out there. His kids are he cannot travel. I can understand that he wants to have a walkable distance of. But at the same time, the question comes is that, is he upgrading himself? Is he doing the new things, what are there in the market? So that tomorrow, if something happens with this job, he should be able to switch. So if you're doing that, Priyanka Rao, it's good. If you're not doing that, if you're just going and filling your 9 hours and coming back, that day will come. Like today, we have a day where people are being laid off. So in such situations, your resume and you are the only way you will get a job back, right? I keep learning so much things, but I'm working on a maintenance. Okay, that's answered. My company says if you need onshore opportunities, then go learn Python. Should I go for it? Okay, onshore opportunities, US visas, the dream of US. It's up to you, as I've said. Like, this is something very difficult to answer, because I can understand it's all multiplied by 75, right, at the end of the day. So, and the money is triple and double and so on. It's up to you, actually, I'll say over here. And the first thing is, I remember, like 90% of the cases, which say that they will give you H1B or whatever visas you want out there, and they say that do this, it normally does not end in a good note. The H1 visa never comes. So something which is reality out here, if he has stamped your H1B visa or whatever visa you have out there, if it is already on hand, do Python, right? But if he's just giving you some kind of a carrot, or must be it is something which is not still decided, I won't say I will go for it. This is there in all companies. if I do Microsoft Azure certification, will I get a job? A good question out here. I don't know, this certification fad eventually goes off. So more than certification, I would say get a knowledge of Azure. Because when I read someone's CV, right, I ask him like, have you created a virtual machine? Have you hosted a web application? What did you do? Where did you use Azure Service Bus? So I don't even look at his resume and say that, did you do AZ900 and so on. So I feel that more than certification, see that are you able to use that service of Azure, and are you good in understanding the different options? So from the job perspective, because you said that, can I get a job easily by certification? I think when people see your resume, they see your resume, they see your work, they don't see your certifications. All those old certification, Oracle Certified Professional and MCSD, and I remember that Java certification which used to happen on 90s, right? All has gone out. Even Azure certification will fade out. So Azure knowledge will prevail. A lot of questions of Azure out here. Okay, guys, so many questions out here, and it's time up. We have like 4 minutes out here. Thank you very much. Any other questions, please? I know that I have not answered all the questions, but it is difficult out there to answer all the questions. So that is the website out there, indiamentor.com. Thank you, Gaurav, to call me on the stage to answer these questions out here. Thank you very much. And please do visit this site. And I would encourage Gaurav that if you can also bring in project management, if you can bring in the other leaders who are there on Techster as well. A lot of people are MVPs and GDs. It will really add value more to India Mentor. Thank you very much.